at the turn of the 21st century, there have been calls, and now those calls have become even more vehement in recent years for Nigeria's economy to be diversified. Now, when you have that conversation and put it on the table, one of the first, sectors that readily comes to many people's minds, including experts in this field of economic development, is agriculture, an area where Nigeria as a country has a very strong competitive advantage. But others have also argued that we have not settled for what economic model that is, that we should adopt as a country and as a people. Now, in the 21st century, technology drives virtually every aspect of our lives as a nation and as a society. In fact, STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math, have now become more like the lubricants for driving advancements across the world, even though that conversation doesn't seem to be very big in Nigeria at the moment. And then there's the icing on the cake, if you like, which is the artificial intelligence element, AI. That has become not just a popular phenomenon, it is now also more like a principality of some kind within the tech ecosystem. Just a few days ago, we heard or read in the news that Elon Musk's one of course aspects of his business is now buying up some other business interest that has to do with artificial intelligence. As a matter of fact, governments across the world, forward-thinking organizations and institutions are driving AI because they say it is now the future, even though there are ethical concerns around this phenomenon. When you bring it back home to Nigeria, for example, in what specific ways as a country and as a government can we leverage the quote-unquote blessings of artificial intelligence to not only drive economic growth and development, but also diversify in such a way that we can have multiple streams of income or revenue as a country? This morning, I'm joined by somebody who has a little more than a handle on some of these issues to help us find sense in this conversation. We're looking at Samuel Nnitiwe Theophilus. He's an AI engineer and the founder of Nnitiwe.io. First, Samuel, I'll say a big thank you to you for making our time to join us this Wednesday morning.
Thank you too for having me.
Yeah, great. So let's get a conversation on the road. AI for many people, it's more like, if you like, some sort of abstract factor or element. I can almost tell you for free that not many Nigerians even understand what AI means, beyond the fact that they can go through, pick up their devices and punch keys here and there, maybe charts and do whatever. All of those basic things. Yes. What exactly is AI within the Nigerian context?
Yes, so thank you. That's a very important question, because I always like to tell people when I try to talk that AI is, you can't actually do much with AI when you don't understand AI. So AI is basically, for the layman, it's empowering the computer to be able to make intelligent decisions that are usually executed by humans. So that's simply what AI can be explained to be. So traditionally, software programs have have algorithms or have logic which they operate, which are not usually very intelligent. So, but with humans. So humans have a level of intelligence, and this could be decision making. So these are the factors like decision making, understanding language, being able to process language or process images. These traditionally were not very familiar or were not feasible for the computer.
Right.
Or very difficult. So, but AI is basically empowering the computer to be able to make human decisions that or basically simulate human intelligence.
We also hear about things like machine learning, deep learning, and all of that. Are these components of AI as well?
Yes, they're subsets of AI. So AI has actually changed or transformed over time. When in initial stages of AI was basically had scenarios where the computer was it was more like a simulation, or will I say trying to because mainly we were dealing with expert systems. So for instance, we are building chatbots, then you try to simulate So basically, think of all the possible scenarios or possible questions. It was not truly intelligent. It was just a simulation of that intelligence. So you like simulate all the possible questions a potential customer will ask you, and then you like get answers, predefined answers for those things. And then that's why when you use a chatbot like 10 years back, you get when you ask some questions, you can get, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Or if you try to run a facial recognition, if I don't have my glasses on, or if I have my glasses on, that variable could just change because it was not truly intelligent. It was just a simulation. So, but now with concepts like concepts like deep learning, like machine learning, these have actually changed how AI has improved AI to be what it is today, because now AI is able to truly learn as a human would from data. So this has empowered the data. So that's directly responsible for the breakthroughs in generative AI that we have. So that basically at a basic level, that's what machine learning basically make an algorithm or a concept that empowers the computer to be able to learn from data as a human would. Just like a child, you teach a child how to identify cats, dogs, and
colors.
Exactly, colors, all those things, and it learns, and over time it improves. So a computer can also do that. So using ML and deep learning algorithms.
Interesting. I mean, a few years ago, I started hearing things like IoT, Internet of Things, and all of that. Are these all a total package, or what exactly are we dealing with?
Okay, so in IoT works with intelligence. So IoT mainly is basically has to do with like chips, hardware. So, but of course, you can integrate AI to make this tool smart. So basically, so you have sense. So when you're talking about IoT, basically making device, getting your devices or making your devices smart to communicate with each other. So, but if you want to tap truly into tools like that, let's take Alexa for instance. So if Alexa is powered by AI, or rather an AI assistant, so and it has been designed to work with a lot of IoT devices, which makes it possible for it to send commands like turn off the lights, turn off this. So it's I would say they basically, if you are trying to make the best of AI, or make the best of even IoT, you have to like integrate AI to some point to make it very efficient. Else you will just have very the intelligence, or you just have very basic functionality with IoT devices. So, but I wouldn't say it's a subset. I would say they're more like they are different.
Okay, they're intertwined.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's drill a bit deeper into the artificial intelligence conversation. But let's domesticate it this time. Do you think? I mean, you are an industry person. Do you think Nigeria, what at the leadership level, in terms of what we're doing in governments and what we're doing as organizations? Of course, we have tech hubs dispersed across this country today, end to end, and all of that. But are we having enough real-time, radical, value-adding, defining moments kind of conversation around AI in terms of our economic direction?
I would say we are catching up.
We're catching up.
Yes, we're actually behind. We're actually behind. But because of the drive, there has been recent. So I actually try to check the news and try to get solutions, and I can say to an extent the government is making some or set up some programs. I know, for instance, the NDPC has a data related program set for June.
That's the Data Protection Commission.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So basically there are some innovation, like let's say there's efforts are being made towards that, but we have a long way, because when it comes to when we talk about infrastructure, or even funding, like there's still a lot of room for growth. I would say we're making at the initial stages where we're trying to catch up, because the world is actually very hot on AI. If you look at the US and you look at China, look at the investments that are being made. So we are very, when you compare that and the energy we in Africa or Nigeria are moving, you can say that we're behind. But hopefully we should more investments, more opportunities will be made available, because the AI is not going anytime soon. It's just getting more loud, and those who are not able to catch up are left behind.
When Dr. Bosulto Jenny was appointed in 2023 by President President Tinubu as Minister of Innovation, Digital Economy, and what have you, communications, many Nigerians, especially people like you who are in the tech field, those who are in fintech, they are in finance and what have you, thought it was time Nigeria heaved a sigh of relief, given that this was not just a young man who had done a whole lot in his own private practice, CC Hub, even beyond the shores of West Africa, and all of that. When you look at all of that today, because whether you like it or not, government still, for the most part, drives the narrative. Let's look at policies, for example. Are we doing commendably well in that area?
I would say it's well. With regards to policies, it's like I said, there's always a lot of room for
improvement, right?
Improvement, but I would say we are not completely, inactive in that area. So because when you look at, for instance, the NDPR regulation that guides, because if you are dealing with data, one of the very common issues you would have as you start dealing with AI is the misuse of data, and you can see that in
privacy abuse.
Exactly. So you can see that a lot with a lot of the legal battles, and this not limited to just companies that are using AI, but also because we have, like, if you have most of these websites that have publicly available data, you have crawling. So you have crawling consigns, right? So where you can actually build bots to like pull data and get a lot of things.
Invade people's privacy.
Exactly. So with NDPR in place, I would say that's actually a good point, because given that it's active and it's and although like the enforcement is basically like is, when you compare it to how GDPR is being there's still a lot of room for growth. But I would say that it's, to an extent, we're not completely we're not completely as inactive as it might seem.
Right.
I would just say most of the challenges we have are around like infrastructure, right? Because when you talk about like working with AI, and so you have to be dealing with GPUs, you are dealing with cost for like training servers and then all these things. So this is where I feel we have a lot of work to do, because if, for instance, we are trying, because there's always this concern, okay, so what of we have large language models, but tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek don't really have much context on AI on Nigerian data aside what is very publicly available there. So if let's say we want to build Nigerian themed large language models or foundational models,
how do we go about it?
So you say we don't talk about resources, because when you look at even DeepSeek, that's considered to be way cheaper than ChatGPT in terms of like when developing models, it still costs a lot of money. I think it was about $5 million that was spent trying to train that, compared to this. So you see, it still costs a lot of money to train this. So I would say that is where I feel. So with regards policies, we have some good policies, and we're actually currently improving and trying to catch up as well. So, but most of the challenge we have is with respect to like infrastructure and basically like embrace technical skills and also like infrastructure to like support this the drive for these innovations.
Interesting. But let's do a bit of specifics here. In what ways, from what your standpoints, can we apply the power of AI, so I'd like to call it, to fields like agriculture, like fintech, like communications, and all of the things that converge to drive an economy? Okay,
that's a very good question, because I actually like to be very practical. So when you look at ways, I like to address them from two angles. So first, you can when it comes to, like you mentioned, IoT integration with hardware. So I'll give two examples with agriculture.
Right.
So there was a project I worked on, which basically was it was themed around the development of an AI solution. This is now prior, because when we talk about generative or AI, it seems like the AI or AI was just created or formed now, but AI has been there before ChatGPT. So basically on this project, this basically was the aim of the project was to optimize the application of herbicides on hectares of land. So now we are dealing with very large hectares, and then this required the running capturing images of using drones to capture the farmland, and then basically taking these large images into an AI model and then identifying weeds with precision on these land farms. And then the idea was to be able to, once you spot the weed, because they are auto maps, so once you spot the weeds, you also have the coordinates of these weeds on the solution, and then the idea is to be able to spray herbicides only where they are needed. And this project saved the application of herbicides by about 60%. So that is an example of what success, or what successful application of AI can be. So the nozzles of whatever the equipment that is used to spray or apply these herbicides only activates at the point where these herbicides are applied. So it's saving application. So this is an example. So there are many ways in which AI can be applied. You can automate, for instance, your fish pond, using IoT and with AI. You can automate. There are a lot of AI applications.
Irrigation,
exactly. So you can automate all these processes. You can even use it for research and because most times when you talk of AI, the good thing with the breakthrough in AI now is it's not initially, if you wanted to run or build an AI model, you had to spend so much money to do that. But now with tools like with the breakthrough in generative AI and APIs available, even small businesses can tap into AI without having to break the bank. You can actually start, you can gradually enter. So you can use that research process. So in fintech, you can use it for fraud detection. You can use it, you can build solutions around fraud detection. And you can also, because generally, irrespective of which industry you're in, AI in business, because one of the most powerful applications of AI is to use it to either improve customer experience or to drive sales or optimize your operations. So give it agriculture, fintech, whatever sector, education, whatever sector, you can optimize, basically, automate repetitive tasks. So because when for instance you talk about agriculture or you talk about automating the fish pond, basically what you're trying to do is you are automating the process. So maybe detecting when the water needs to be changed, or detecting and automatically draining out water, filling it in with so basically these are repetitive tasks that can be automated. So when you look at fintech as well, how do you, for instance, due diligence, how do you automate that process?
Know your customer.
Yes, exactly. Knowing your customer, all this, how do you automate this process? Currently, solutions are out there that already try to, for instance, you pull your the BVN from
NIN,
all these things. Yes, you validate all these things. So, but you can use AI. AI can be used to go a little bit further and really drill into, really understand. And this can be when you go to tax, it can also be used to validate. There are a lot of because each organization has, there are slightly different due diligence scenarios, for or objectives for why you carry out a due diligence on whatever prospect you have. So this can be used. So like I said, fraud detection, extracting patterns, as simple as supermarkets. You can use, for instance, deep mining techniques like market basket analysis to find out the patterns in your customers. To find out, what behavior are you noticing, and how can you, maybe it could be as simple as reshuffling how you arrange your products, and that drives growth. So there are a lot of ways that you could apply AI to. It's if I go into details, it will be. But of course, when you talk about direct applications, you hear building chatbots, building very intelligent chatbots now that are able to interface with your clients or respond to your clients or provide self-service, or building call center, because right now you can actually build automated call center agents that can run sales if they are empowered by your data. And you can also go to the points of like I said, research or in knowledge base to onboard to handle things like even recruitment. You can handle recruitment. You can handle you can build very intelligent databases that makes it very easy to whether you want to run, whether you want to empower it for an automated sensitization tool, like for instance, so because or even education.
Right.
So there are a lot of areas that, and when you talk about like the results, the results you could see. I like to measure results in a lot in very ways. So for some results, you could have an increase in sales. For sometimes the result for your business could be a decrease in cost.
Right.
Yes. So if you are able to automate some tasks, you can reduce costs, and also for other times it could be efficiency. So it could be efficiency, like driving efficiency, or even improving how your customers experience interact with your product. Because when you are able to like use let's say AI for customer profiling, you are able to understand your customer better and be more efficient to them.
There are two more things I need to ask you, so we'll wrap this up in a few minutes. One is the issue, just want to bundle it into one, right? The first is the issue of concerns around ethics, the ethical concerns around AI. Of course, we have seen Elon Musk speak to these issues. He has also expressed those concerns. That's number one. Number two is someone in the stature of Bill Gates saying that AI will take over certain jobs. And that seems to strike well, I don't want to say thunder, but it gives real concern to people how that AI, from all of the things we're seeing and hearing, will take people's jobs. The third, I didn't plan there was going to be a third, but there's a third, which is this term I mentioned when I introduced this discussion a while ago: science, tech, engineering, and math, for example. Walk us through all of this in the Nigerian context.
Okay, yes. So first, for the it's a very important question, because the first, which is the ethical concerns, right? So it's very important to have that, because if you're trying to integrate AI into business solutions, you can't have them messed up. Because what it means is, if the AI fails, you're going to have very catastrophic effects.
Right.
So a very good example, when ChatGPT was launched, it spewed, one of the challenges had hallucination. It had this basically this scenarios where it spews garbage information with confidence. So for instance, you can ask him who is the president of Nigeria, and then you could say,
could mention you.
Yes, exactly. So now imagine when you have this in, let's say, a law system. So that was problematic. So what solutions like RAG have been introduced to address these issues, where you have where it will only allow the AI to like have highly referenced or verifiable reference, and that's where solutions like AI solutions like Perplexity are used for research, because when that's a very key concern. So now it's very important that when you are working with AI developments or AI engineering experts, one, you ensure that they actually also understand this ethical concern or the limitations of AI, so that they're able to work with it. Because if you integrate and that's why it's also, because I'm actually like a certified like data controller, and so it's very important to understand first as a developer, to understand the limitations of this AI of AI, and also to understand from a user's point of view the right ways and the wrong ways to use AI. So I like to look at or especially with generative AI, I like to also to advise clients to look at it from the point of as an assistant, right? The right way. So when you're trying to integrate AI into your business, it's not a replacement. It shouldn't be a replacement for your creativity, for your need to perform your roles. It should just augment those things. So it's also when you're trying to deploy AI solutions for automation, I would say, don't, even when you make it autonomous, don't make it unwatched. So if you are making it autonomous, you have to be able to watch every step of the decision process. And that's why, for instance, in tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and most of these large language models, you see what we call reasoning model. The idea of reasoning models is just to make it's another way to try to curtail some of these limitations, where you're trying to, like, the AI is not just giving you an answer. It's thinking through and showing you how it gets, like explainable AI basically. So where it's not just getting you, it's not telling you 1 + 1 is 2. is telling you why
1 plus 1 is 2.
why-
So there's a whole lot of logic to it.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the second question
Yes.
of whether AI will take away our jobs.
Yes. So I would say for that particular question, it will transform jobs. The same way the internet introduce roles like YouTube, jobs like YouTuber, like TikToker, or
So they have content developers or content creators all over the place.
Exactly. So and when you see when computer was also launched, it's phased out. For instance, the need for human calculators, and then so of course some jobs which automation would phase out, but it will also introduce a lot of other roles, and it's not, and even not, it might not necessarily phase out a lot of roles. It might just transform how those roles. For instance, right, one of the common fears with ChatGPT was, okay, will it take out the need for writers? But even after ChatGPT was launched, after I had worked as a technical writer on varying projects, and it was still a very high demanding role, because there's you still need the skills and creativity to craft out an article that people will read. So basically, with ChatGPT now, it transforms or eases some of the processes you will need to write, but that's that need for human creativity and the need for basically that's that professional touch will still be there, because and I think that's what will happen to many roles. For instance, software development, you now have large language models that can build apps from start, just by typing prompts or prompting the information. You can type. So, but what happens now is quality assurance. So the roles of software developers might move more towards quality assurance, where you're trying to vet, because it's one thing for the AI to build a solution, and it's another thing for you to be able to vet it's actually doing what you want it to do, and also make adjustments, because if you don't know what you're doing, so you still need. So I would say it will transform a lot of roles, the way a lot of roles are being performed. It's not necessarily eliminate. It will eliminate some roles, but introduce others too, and then it will also transform how a lot of roles are currently being.
So ultimately, the opportunities are just going to keep expanding. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Samuel Nnitiwe Theophilus, for coming to talk to us this morning. Samuel, by the way, is an AI engineer, and he is the founder of Nnitiwe.io. Again, we say we appreciate you for your expertise.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. We'll take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, my colleague Godwin Sunday will be talking about the education system in Nigeria and what more we can do to drive radical reforms within the shortest time possible. Stay with us.